Heartbreak. The very sound of it evokes something primal, doesn't it? A tearing of the soul, like the splintering of old wood under the strain of a storm. But heartbreak is never quite so simple when it involves someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. No, this, my dear friends, is a heartbreak laced with paradoxes, with unspoken words and invisible walls. Now, imagine this scenario. You've initiated no contact with your ex, a dismissive avoidant, and then, lo and behold, they reach out. Ah, the elusive ping. A text, a call, a breadcrumb of connection that disrupts the quiet resolve you've been trying to cultivate. But what does it mean? Does it signal regret, longing, or is it just noise? Let's explore this together, shall we? Let us step into the labyrinthine corridors of the dismissive avoidant mind, a place both fortress and prison, and uncover what their actions truly reveal. Dismissive avoidants are fascinating creatures. They are the stoics of the relational world, aren't they? Always composed, always self-sufficient, always a fortress unto themselves. But beneath that stoicism lies a vulnerability they would rather die than admit. You see, they're not cold, they're wounded. And their armor? Well, that's just the scar tissue of years spent learning that vulnerability equals danger. When a dismissive avoidant breaks up with you, it's not because they didn't care. No, it's because they cared too much and couldn't bear the risks that caring entails. They retreat, claiming their independence, their freedom. But what happens when you withdraw? When you initiate no contact? Oh, my friends, that's when the dance begins. Now picture this. It's been weeks, maybe even months since the breakup. You've maintained your silence. Commendable, by the way. Then one day your phone lights up, a message from them. Perhaps it's a casual hey or a cryptic hope you're doing well. And you, understandably, are thrown into a tempest of emotions. What do they want? Why now? Let me offer you a story. Picture a ship lost at sea, its captain peering into the horizon for any sign of land. That first message is their flare, a signal, not a promise. It could mean many things: curiosity, guilt, or perhaps an attempt to gauge whether you're still there, still waiting in the wings. But make no mistake, this is not yet the beacon of reconciliation. It's a test. Dismissive avoidants are not known for their emotional fluency. They speak in gestures, not soliloquies. A hey might mean, I miss you, but I'm too afraid to admit it. Or it might mean, I'm bored, and you were a comforting presence. The challenge for you, dear listener, is not to leap to conclusions, but to decipher the intention behind the words. Here is where we must tread carefully. A dismissive avoidance casual message is a curious thing. On the one hand, it is a sign of life, a small crack in their armor. On the other, it can be a trap, an invitation to re-enter the cycle of chasing and withdrawing. Respond too quickly, and you risk reinforcing their belief that they can have your presence without offering their vulnerability. Let me offer another metaphor. Imagine a cat. Yes, a cat, approaching you with hesitant steps. It's not there to offer its love. It's testing the waters, seeing if you'll reach out, stroke its fur, and remind it of the warmth it left behind. But if you reach out too eagerly, it bolts. This is the paradox of the dismissive avoidant. They crave connection, but fear it in equal measure. Their message, then, is not an open door, but a window cracked ajar. How you respond, or whether you respond at all, can determine whether that window opens wider or slams shut. Now, let's turn our attention to the signals that truly warrant a response. A dismissive avoidant who is serious about reconnecting will not remain in the realm of vagueness. Their message will have substance, intention. They might call instead of texting. Oh, the boldness of it. Or they might say something specific, such as, I've been thinking about us, or I regret how things ended. These messages carry weight because they cost the sender something. For a dismissive avoidant, vulnerability is currency, and they do not spend it lightly. A message that acknowledges their mistakes or expresses a desire to talk is their way of extending an olive branch, a cautious, trembling hand reaching through the bars of their self-imposed cage. And when you see this, when you recognize that their message is an act of courage, responding can be an act of grace. But, and this is crucial, your response must not be a surrender. It must be a boundary. I'd be open to talking. When would you like to call? This, my friends, is how you meet their vulnerability without sacrificing your own. No contact. What a potent tool it is. Not merely as a strategy to win back an ex, but as an act of self-respect. When you initiated no contact, you sent a message, not to them, but to yourself. You declared that your worth is not contingent on their recognition of it, and that declaration is the foundation upon which all healthy relationships are built. For the dismissive avoidant, no contact is a mirror. It forces them to confront the void left in your absence. It disrupts the dynamic they've grown accustomed to, their partner pursuing, them retreating, and in that disruption lies the possibility of transformation. But let us not romanticize this process. No contact is not a magic spell. It is not guaranteed to bring them back, nor should it be used solely for that purpose. Its true power lies in the space it creates, for you to heal, for them to reflect, and for the patterns that defined your relationship to be broken. And now we arrive at the pivotal moment, their return. Perhaps they call, or perhaps they send a heartfelt message. Perhaps they even suggest meeting in person. What do you do? The answer, as always, lies in the intention behind their actions. Are they returning out of genuine regret and a desire to rebuild? Or are they seeking comfort without committing to change? This distinction is vital, for it determines whether their return is an opportunity for growth or a repetition of the past. Let me leave you with a final story. Picture a garden, overgrown and neglected. The soil is dry, the plants wilted. Your relationship in its previous form was this garden. Their return is a seed, a possibility, not a promise. Whether that seed grows into something beautiful depends on the care and attention both of you are willing to give. And if they are not willing, well, then it is better to leave the soil fallow than to plant in vain. So, my dear listener, as you ponder what to do when your dismissive avoidant ex reaches out, remember this: the power lies with you. Their message, whether casual or sincere, is not a summons. It is an invitation, one you are free to accept or decline. No contact has given you something precious: clarity, strength, and the space to rediscover your worth. Whether they return with open arms or remain behind their walls, that worth remains unchanged. And in the end, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. So choose wisely, choose boldly, and above all, choose you.